What's up, y'all? It's the MMA Analyst here to do my preview for UFC 109 Relentless. As you can see, still trying to get some stuff together, but, it's all good. UFC 109 Relentless, a lot of stuff, happened in order for this card to look as rough as it does. Even in all the ugliness, we still got some pretty good fights. We've got, a legit #1 contender matchup at middleweight. We've got a few good fights on there. One of the best jiu-jitsu guys around. So, let's just get right down to it. But before we do, I want to tell you guys a story. Like a little bedtime story. 3 years ago, there was a fighter who was fighting another fighter, and when the one fighter beat the other fighter, the one fighter was Fedor. When Fedor beat the other fighter, they asked Dana White, they said, "Dana, what do you think about Fedor beating this fighter?" And Dana said something along the lines of, "Man, this guy's a bum. He hasn't won," maybe he didn't say he's a bum, but he said, "This guy hasn't won a fight in years. He's a 40-something-year-old man, and, who can't beat him?" So 3 years later, here we go. Main event, Mark Coleman versus Randy Couture. I didn't say it. Dana said it. But now, Mark Coleman's the man and this and this and that. And, hey, Mark Coleman is the man. I don't think he should have been disrespected at the time anyways. Mark Coleman's a tough fight for anybody. It's just funny how, when Mark Coleman's fighting Fedor 3 years ago, he's an old man who hasn't had a win in years, and now when he's fighting Randy in the main event, he's the toughest fight ever. So it is what it is. Randy Couture versus Mark Coleman. I think together, combined, their age is 91, but it's all good because these aren't your average 40-year-olds by any stretch of the imagination. Mark Coleman, one of the best game plan, one of the best strategists in the game. I truly believe that, based on simply the fact that he did start so late in his MMA career. And, if he didn't have good strategies, I don't think he'd have half the wins he did have. He was most of the time fighting younger guys, always it seemed fighting bigger guys, hungrier guys, and, rose to the occasion many, many times, underdog many times, and came out on top. If Randy Couture went out there and just said, "I'm going to fight with my God-given talents," I have a feeling that we wouldn't even be talking about Randy Couture the way we talk about him in this situation that we do today. Randy Couture, we all know about, Captain America, 17 wins, 10 losses, kind of effed up looking record, but if you look at who he's fought, he has only fought top dogs for the most part. Antonio Rodrigo Nogueira was one of his latest fights in which he lost that fight. But it was, fight of the night, one of the best fights of the year. Brandon Vera beat Brandon Vera. Wasn't the most pretty win, but it is what it is. Lost to Brock Lesnar. Beat Gabriel Gonzaga, beat Tim Sylvia, lost to Chuck twice, beat Vitor Belfort, beat Tito Ortiz. He's always had tough fights. His third fight in MMA was Vitor Belfort, back when Vitor Belfort was a beast. Actually, when he was originally the original Vitor Belfort beast, not the rejuvenated beast that we see today. But anyways, obviously we know his skills. He's got, the dirty wrestling. He's on point with that. The dirty boxing. He's on, even the dirty wrestling. Maybe I should talk about that. Dirty wrestling. He's out there grinding all the time, pushing people up against the cage, tiring people out. That's all right. I just coined the phrase, dirty wrestling. That's what he does. Everything he does is dirty. It's grimy. Just grind all just in your face. And that's what he does. He tires people out. Even though he's 40-something, 45. Even though, he doesn't get tired. He does his thing. He trains like a madman. And he is Randy Couture. And, he's Randy Couture for a reason, Randy Couture is what we thought he was. And if you want to go and crown him, crown his ass then. I'm just doing my little the Bears are who we thought they were lying. On the other side of it, we got Mark Coleman trying to do the greatest thing ever. To be honest, I was talking to, I think it was Chase a while back when Mark Coleman had just fought, he just looked real bad against Shogun. And I was like laughing because we know like it was 10 years ago. It was like the year 2000 when Mark Coleman came back the first time and won the Pride 2000 Openweight Grand Prix. So he was already down and out going into that. And then handled his business and won that, jumping all over through the ropes, acting a fool. If you haven't seen it, then I don't know what you've been doing. But, so it's 10 years ago, y'all, that he was at that. You know, he won the UFC tournament back in, like, 1996. Then he had lost, like, 4 belts in a row, looked terrible. You know, everybody thought he was done, got his ass head kicked out of the UFC. And then came back and won the Pride Openweight Grand Prix in 2000. Went from there, you know, didn't look all too great. And now, you know, it's kind of funny because he's got this win over Stephan Bonner. If he were to come out and get a win over Randy Couture, you know, Dana's talking about, you know, title contendership type stuff. It would be funny if somehow, and you know, he got a title shot in the future and ended up winning the title. Not going to happen, though, but it would be funny as hell. It'd be real crazy. Like, this guy doesn't give up. You know, so in a way, I'm kind of rooting for him just so I can see, you know, that kind of crazy history. But the reality is, what I think is going to happen in this fight, you know, he's a wrestler. Randy Couture is a wrestler. But, you know, there's going to be a cardio situation that I think Randy Couture is going to have the edge in. There's going to be the stand-up situation where I think Randy Couture is going to have the advantage in. And I talked about it before, you know, Mark Coleman got some old man muscle and he got some old man skin. So, you know, old man skin, you know, it looks like you've been standing out in the sun way too long. You got all them sunspots and all types of craziness. You can't really ever go and think that, you know, he's going to win with old man skin at this point against Randy Couture, who's got young man muscle. Kind of young man muscle. But anyways, I think what's going to happen in this fight is Randy Couture is going to go out there, you know, there's going to be a lot of scrambles, a lot of trying to get the takedown, but it's going to be a lot of getting pushed up against the cage, a lot of, you know, grinding up and, you know, tiring out Mark Coleman until he eventually gets tired, and I believe he'll be finished either late in the second round or early in the third round. It's going to be a grimy fight. I don't know how pretty it's going to be. I don't know if there's... I mean, if these were two other dudes fighting, they'd probably be boozed from 10 seconds in all the way to the end. But it's Randy and it's Coleman, and the fans love these dudes, and why not? You know what I mean? They're veterans in the game, so I think it's just going to be an ugly, grimy fight in which, you know, Randy Couture pulls up with the victory. Up next... damn, they should have never given this dude a microphone. Chael Sonnen versus Nate Marquardt. Man, Chael Sonnen better win this fight. Chael Sonnen better win this fight. This guy says so much dumb stuff, but I'm going to forget all the dumb stuff he said about fighting other than he was like, Nate Marquardt is the better this than me. He's better at this. He's better. He like named 4 things that Marquardt was better than him at. But he said, but I'm the better fighter. I'm like, that don't make no damn sense at all. You telling me, you know, he's got everything better than you, but the sum of the parts, you put it all together and you end up the better fighter. That don't make any sense. He said if Anderson Silva lived on his block, you know, they would run him out of the block, you know, in like 12 hours or something like that. Or I forget what it was. But basically, because Anderson Silva wears his hat sideways and wears earrings, he's not welcome on their block. Now, this dude might be the richest dude on your block. So, it's obviously nothing to do with class or money. You just don't like dudes who wear sideways hats and earrings? I can understand the earrings, but no, I'm just playing. But if he wears a sideways hat, we will run him. He didn't say those words, but he said, you know, he's a grown man that wears a sideways hat. And he's a grown man with earring. And he wouldn't last, you know, 12 hours on my block. Me and my neighbors would run him out. So basically, Chael Sonnen says, if you wear a sideways hat, I don't care if you're the best fighter on the planet, or top 2. I don't care if you make more money than me. I don't care if you got kids, a wife, and you're an upstanding citizen. It's got nothing to do with anything about how talented or how much of a nice guy you may be. All you need is a sideways hat. And I don't want you living on my block. What? I mean, I know a lot of people who say a lot of dumb things, but most of the time they don't say it in front of a microphone before the biggest fight of their life. You know, he said there's no such thing as a game plan. A lot of these guys are high school dropouts, and they don't get up till after 12, and they play video games, and they said they play Wii. I said that's a contradiction in itself. You know, you said they're lazy. What they playing Wii for? Wii, you gotta move. If they're lazy, they got Xbox and good games with graphics that do the work for them. Chael Sonnen better win this fight on Saturday, because this guy's gonna freaking explode when he has to eat all that crow. This guy's out of his damn mind. He really is. Chael Sonnen said, nobody's ever listened to me before. They put the mic in front of me, and I'm going to act a damn fool. And that's what he did. And I agree with Chael Sonnen about one thing. You know, Nate Marquardt is the better of all the things that he mentioned. He's also stronger. He's bigger. He's actually improving, and he's getting better. He's fighting with the real good squad. You know, he said nobody trains harder than him, but he trains like 3 hours a day, and that includes showering, and there's no such thing as camps. Camps are for kids. I don't know. This guy's out of his mind. You know, he said these guys say that they're a professional fighter because they're bums and they have to find an existence. Now, you telling me, Chael Sonnen, that if you made a $500,000 a fight, you'd still go to work instead of actually trying to improve your fight game? I mean, if you're going to do that, that's up to you. But until you can go out there and beat Paulo Filho twice, you know what I mean? When the dude was cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs both times and had to send you the belt, come on, dog. Quit that, man. Let me interview you. Let me ask you some questions that'll make you rethink some of this foolish stuff you've been saying. Let me interview you, Chael Sonnen. Come on now. Nate Marquardt is going to go out there and overpower the F out of Chael Sonnen. He's going to be bigger. He's going to be stronger. He might be faster. His jiu-jitsu is going to be better. He's a better wrestler. And by jiu-jitsu, I mean, he ain't going to get tapped. You know what I mean? This fight is good just for the existence of the fact that Chael Sonnen is on a nice little winning streak. And by winning streak, I mean he beat Dan Miller and Yushin Okami. Oh, my God, y'all. He said, I beat people who beat Anderson Silva. Therefore, but you beat Yushin Okami, and Yushin Okami lost by, getting upkicked unconscious. So is your game plan to have Anderson Silva upkick you and then you win the fight? Is that your game plan? But you don't come up with game plans anyways. Coming off 2 wins, one over Dan Miller, one over Yushin Okami. Nate Marquardt, you know, he's coming off a knockout win over Damian Maia, a win over Wilson Govan, a win over Martin Kampmann. It's just gonna be too much, you know. Nate Marquardt's gonna just be too much for Chael Sonnen. I wonder what Chael Sonnen's going to say after the fight. After he said all this stupid... Part of me wants him to win just so I can watch Anderson Silva dance all over his face. But that's not going to happen. Alright, let's get to the next damn fight. Paulo Thiago versus Mike Swick. Paulo Thiago coming off a win over Jacob Christmas Volkman. That's just a ridiculous name. I'll never get over it. He supposedly looks like Lloyd Christmas, you know, from Dumb and Dumber. Anyways... Before that, he had the loss to John Fitch. Before that, he had the knockout win over Josh Koscheck. And he's part of the elite squad, the Wape. Just a nasty squad of dudes that actually go out and just... I always bring that up. Y'all got to see the movie Elite Squad, Tropa Elite. It's a Brazilian film about these grimy-ass cops. They're good cops, supposedly. I don't know if those... I don't want to hurt too many people's feelings. But anyways, basically, they're in the middle of one of the most grimy places, and they go out there and just get to work. Anyways, he's fighting Mike Swick, coming off a very disappointing win, or loss, I guess both, to Dan Hardy. Before that, he ran through Ben Saunders, beat Jonathan Goulet, beat Marcus Davis, Josh Berkman. Mike Swick, we know he's coming with, he's going to come with some pretty good stand-up. He's going to be fast. He's going to be quick, And Paulo Thiago is going to come with some jiu-jitsu. He's going to go for the takedown. He's going to try and outwork Mike Swick. But what I see happen in this fight, I think Swick is going to be able to not get taken down, to cause Paulo Thiago to tire out. If he can maintain his quickness, and if he can contain his Swickness, I think he might be able to get the TKO, by the second round. If not, then most likely he'll just be stuffing takedowns all the way to a unanimous decision victory. Up next, Dan Miller versus Damian Maia. Dan Miller, man, it's not just Chael Sonnen who lost his mind. Dan Miller, in a way, said, I'm not afraid to go to the ground with Damian Maia. You are afraid to go, and if you are not afraid to go to the ground with Damian Maia, then you'll be afraid to go to the ground ever again after you go to the ground with Damian Maia. Don't do it. You better keep this fight on the feet. I said this to somebody before. I said, Nate Marquardt was so afraid of Damian Maia's ground. He knocked him out in 21 seconds. That was self-defense. That wasn't offense. That was self-defense. He said, I'm not letting you go get anywhere near me. Get off me, dog. And got rid of him. Said, thank God, my limbs are intact. You know what I mean? He actually admitted the reason why he didn't blast him, I thought is because Damian Maia was such a nice guy, which he is. But the reason he didn't blast him when he was unconscious half on the ground is because he didn't want to risk the chance of hitting him and waking his ass back up. And Damian Maia maybe doing what he does and choking people out. So, Dan Miller, don't do it to yourself. Go out with the right plan. I don't care if you got a black belt now. I heard you got the new black belt. Congratulations. But all black belts are not created equal. He's got the win over Jake Rosholt, Matt Horwick, Rob Kimmons, da-da-da-da-da. Lots of wins, but he's coming off a loss to Chael Sonnen. And actually in a fight where he got out-wrestled, I was surprised. He just basically got outworked. Damian Maia, we all know what happened to him. Like I said, he got his ass knocked out. But before that was undefeated and just submitting people all day long. Submission of the night, submission of the night, submission of the night, submission of the night. That's 4 submission of the nights for, out of maybe 6 fights. So he's a beast on the ground. Nate Quarry got tapped. Jason McDonald got tapped. Ed Herman got tapped. Ryan Jensen got tapped. Chael Sonnen got tapped. Quick, nasty tap. So, and then Nate Marquardt said, nah, Doug, we are not going to the ground. I am afraid of that ground game. I'm knocking you out. So, this fight is going to be for, basically, get back, get up there. You know what I mean? Get right up there in the contention again. And we'll see what happens with this. I'm going to pick Damian Maia. Dan Miller needs to keep this fight on the feet real bad. And when it comes down to it, though, he's pretty good on his feet. He's definitely better than Maia on his feet. But when I pick somebody like Damian Maia against Dan Miller's got to, I picked Nate Marquardt to beat Damian Maia. And I got to pick Damian Maia to beat Dan Miller simply because I don't know if that striking is going to be enough to avoid, what a lot of guys can't avoid, which is, Damian Maia just saying, we're going to the ground whether you like it or not. I'm picking Damian Maia by a first-round submission. What else? Frank Trigg versus Matt Serra. What year is it? We got Frank Trigg versus Matt Serra. Randy Couture versus Mark Coleman. Damn, all we need is Pedro Hizzo back, and this is UFC 28 or something like that. Anyways, Frank Trigg coming off, I don't want to say an embarrassing, because, Koscheck's a champ, he's a pro, he's got skills, But damn if that wasn't embarrassing. Came out and just got embarrassed. Just completely dominated. For as short as the fight was, it is what it is. So, before that, he was on a half decent looking streak. You know, Edwin Deweese, Folinko Vitali, a few good fights here and there. We know all about Frank Trigg, UFC veteran, been in the game for a long time. You know, wrestling, he's training with Extreme Couture. And, I mean, really when it comes down to it, he's a little old now, but he's still all around, you know, got skills. And he'll be fighting Matt Serra, Jiu-Jitsu black belt. But like I said, all black belts aren't created equal. He's a very good black belt. You know, he's got power in his hands. Damn, this dude was a champion. Y'all don't even remember that. You know, he was actually the welterweight champion. Knocked out George St. Pierre. Of course you remember it, but you don't really think about it. But he is coming off, you know, loss to Matt Hughes. And actually, I'm pretty sure he won that fight. But hey, it is what it is. And George St. Pierre, damn, George St. Pierre said, I'm not losing to you twice. But this is going to be a fight where I think you're going to see a wrestler trying to do his thing against a jiu-jitsu guy. But I think this is not going to look like the last wrestler versus jiu-jitsu guy. I think in this fight, Matt Serra is going to be able to do more than he has in the past. Frank Trigg is not going to be able to, I don't believe, come for 15 minutes like he was, like Hughes was able to, and like St. Pierre was able to. So I'm going to pick Matt Serra in this fight. By decision, by split decision. I think it's going to be close, but I don't think that he's going to get two back-to-back. You know, we're going to favor the wrestling guy, you know, in a close fight. Decisions. On the undercard, I'll talk about a quick Mac Danzig trying to get a record for losing 4 fights in a row in the UFC. Normally, they cut you after 3. She's trying to get a record. Clay Guida, Josh Neer, Jim Miller, and now maybe Justin Bolsholtz. You know, he's the tough winner, the Ultimate Fighter winner. And ever since then, it's been a bumpy-ass road for Mac Danzig. In the house, this dude was the man. You couldn't touch him. Outside of the house, damn. He'll be fighting Justin Bolsholtz. Coming into the UFC, you know, I had said a few things about him. I believe he was the, I forget what champion. I believe he was the Alaska fighting champion. And, you know, he was doing all right. And ever since that UFC signature, it's just been tough for my dude. He's 1-3 in the UFC, coming off loss to Jeremy Stevens, Terry Edom. He lost to Matt Wyman, and he rear naked choked Corey Hill. In this fight, it's gonna be tough, but I'm gonna have to go with Mac Danzig not losing 4 in a row. Melvin Gillard versus Honey Torres. I'm gonna go with Torres by submission. Melvin Gillard just makes too many stupid mistakes to ever pick him against a guy that's going to have one game plan. So, you know, if Melvin Gillard could tell me I'm going to sprawl and brawl all day and not do anything dumb, then I'd pick Melvin Gillard. But he just does too many stupid things for me to pick against somebody who's only got one game plan. Go out there, take him down, and tap him out. Undercard, Felipe Nova versus Rob Emerson. I'm going to pick Emerson. Brian Stan versus Phil Davis. I'm picking Phil Davis. Tim Hagg versus Chris Terscherer. I'm picking Terscherer. And Holmes Gracie against the late replacement Joey Beltran. I'm picking Holmes Gracie to get a win for Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. Everybody. Hey, I put the little call out there for the website situation. I thought I was going to get maybe 1-2 guys max. I said, hey, maybe I could help. Man, the response was overwhelmingly positive. I thank every last one of you guys. I do believe that, you know, I've got the guy. I haven't really told him yet, but I do believe so. Thank you very much. Look forward to putting out this website and blah, 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 blah. We'll see what it is in the future. Yo, MMA, y'all. It's important. It's important, especially in days like tomorrow, where the card, it ain't all that, but it's still important, y'all. Peace.